Good morning, everyone. I am Thắng from Faculty of Information Technology in Harvard University. I'm very happy to be here today to present about our research project on the topic of preserving user privacy in Retrieval Augmented generation. My group has 6 pupils, and we are all from the Harvard University in Hanoi, in Vietnam. So here's the main content of the presentation today. I have 5 parts for my presentation. Firstly, I will give you a brief overview, an introduction about the background of the research and the main contribution of the research. Then I will state the problems, what we want to solve in our research, and explain the approach of what we do and what we have done in our research. The 2 final parts will be the evaluation and the conclusion and discussion. So for the introduction, in our research, we are to address the privacy issues in the operation of large language model, or LLM for short, and also in the Retrieval Augmented Generation System, or RAG system. We propose a framework named RLPT, RAG Local Placeholder Tagging. This framework will filter out some sensitive data in the context documents and in the user query and user form before sending the data to the third-party service provider. With the help of RLPT framework, we hope that we can address 2 main privacy issues in the RAG system. We also perform some experiments, and the result demonstrate that our framework has some efficiency and effectiveness in protecting the user privacy with a minimal impact on the user experience. So here are some background in our research. Firstly, the large language model, LLM, has many applications today. LLM is an AI model that built in a pre-trained data, text data, and it can perform many AI tasks like generate text, answer questions, summarize documents, and so on. Although LLM has many applications today, but it still has some limitations. Firstly, LLM don't have some domain-specific accurate knowledge. In general, LLM will output some generalized answer in this specific or accurate information. The second, LLM often not update to the latest information because LLM are pre-trained model. It's trained on the data. It has the information or knowledge at the time of training model, but then when deploy the model, the knowledge and information are not updated. If we want to retrain the model, it will cost. It will be a huge cost, and it's not easy for a personal development or a small company. The third limitation of LLM is sometimes it will make up the answer. If it didn't have the knowledge or information about the question, LLM sometimes will make up the answer. The output or the answer produced by the LLM looks coherent and grammatically correct, but the content or the knowledge is incorrect. And if we use LLM, sometimes we don't know what source the system or the model cite for, right, or referring to generate the response. The limitation of the LLM can be solved by using a new technique named Retrieval Augmented Generation System, or RAG. RAG will combine two processes. The first one is the retrieval process, and the second one is the generation process to enhance the capabilities of LLM. So you can see in this figure, it's an overview of RAG operation, of the operation of the RAG system. To update the knowledge for LLM, you can prepare the documents, some documents, we call it the source data. And then these source data can be embedded into a vector database so that when RAG system receives a query from the user, it will try to search from the source data text to figure out which documents are most relevant to the query. So the query and the relevant documents will be combined together to create the form to send to LLM. So now the LLM is updated with the knowledge from the documents, provided document, and it can answer or it can generate the response with the new knowledge inside the context document. Right? So by combining the retrieval and generation process, RAG will enhance the capabilities of LLM. For example, in other research of our group, we developed a RAG system to create a chatbot to answer the questions about the IT subjects in our university. So in general, LLM, it doesn't have any knowledge related to the subject or the courses in our university. But we prepare some source data to enhance the responding answering or responding generation of the UML by using the RAG system. Other companies can also utilize the RAG system, like a hospital can create or can use the system to answer the questions about the patient of the hospital, or a company can employ the RAG system to answer or to retrieve the information about the ongoing project or finished product of the company. In this model or in this system, we sometimes will use the service provided by the third-party provider. The third-party provider may provide the embedding service to embedding the document in the source data, or other third-party provider can provide the LLM service, because for a small company or small organization, it's impossible to create a good enough LLM model. Right? So sometimes we will use the LLM service provided by the third party. So if we use the service provided by the third party, there will be some problem that we should take care about. The first thing is that the source data and the user query may have some sensitive data, right? For example, they may contain some confidential data like product names, dates, specification, or source code, or product briefs, or it can also contain the personal information of the employees like names, date of birth, or so on. So from the data privacy perspective, this system has two main risks. The first one is in the embedding process, and the second one is on the LLM generation process. If we use the third-party service provider, so we have to send our document in source data into the third-party provider in form of raw text, so it might leak some privacy data. And in the generation process, we will send the user query and the context or retrieve documents to the third-party provider, service provider, as a form. To deal with this problem, we propose an approach to filter out all sensitive information in the context data or in the context documents and in the user form before sending them to the third-party service providers. So we try to filter out and hide all the sensitive data. We developed our framework that functions as a plug-in model to any RAS, so that it can work with any RAS system and without modification to the existing system or in the embedding service or LLM service provider. Our framework will identify all sensitive information and replace it with some unique placeholder, or we call it some unique tags. Right? They will allow to indicate and concealing the sensitive, only sensitive data. And it also prevents the third-party service providers from capturing the original sensitive data from processing. So our framework can work in two configurations. If we employ the third-party service provider for embedding process or for retrieval process, so we can deploy ILPT before the embedding model. The ILPT framework will get the query and sort data and hide all the sensitive information, and then send the data to the third-party service provider. Or in the second configuration, we can deploy ILPT before sending the data to LLM. It works in the same way. And here is an example demonstrates how the ILPT framework can help to filter out the sensitive data. So you can see when user posts a query, the first one here, this query contains some sensitive data like the name of the person, right? So our framework will identify it and replace it with a tag here, like in this output here. Similar, in the context document, if the document contains some sensitive data, it will be detected and replaced with a corresponding tag. And finally, in the form, before sending to the LLM third-party service, the form content can be processed and all sensitive data will be replaced by the corresponding tag or placeholder. So the most important question in our framework is that how we can identify and replace the sensitive data. Actually, we train a local LLM using transformer architecture. This model will detect all the sensitive keywords and replace it with a tag, corresponding tag. So here's some brief information about our local LLM to help identify and replace the sensitive data. It has 24 hidden layers with 1024 nodes, and we fine-tune, because we do transformer architecture, so we will fine-tune this using a data set that we obtain from Kaggle competition. This dataset consists of 22,000 essays written by the students who enrolled in an open online course. So based on this dataset, we can train our model to detect sensitive data like names, address, emails, and so on, and then replace the data with corresponding tag. Now, with the local LLM, so we can design our framework like in the big figure. So the core is the local LLM that I showed you in the previous slide. And in this architecture, we can receive the raw chunk of query text as an input, and then we can process it and produce the output with content. In the output, all sensitive data are hide or are replaced by the proper tag. If we provide a form to the framework, so the form can also be processed in the same way. The result will be the form with no sensitive data. For the evaluation, we test our framework, or we evaluate our framework on a set of 4,000 synthesis forms. Because we couldn't have enough real form to test, so we use ChatGPT to generate the form for us. So the set consists of 2,000 forms that have primarily sensitive data like names, username, or person names, emails, ID number, street address, and web address, so on. And we have another 2,000 form synthesis form that include non-privacy text or generic questions or general text without any name entities. And with this test, our framework can have the following result classification result. And as you can see, the confusion matrix here. And as some discussion related to the experiment result, our framework had the accuracy rate of 88.7%. The false negative rate will be the false negative rate is 7.3%, and this false mainly comes from the synthesis form that are poorly formed, like because we use ChatGPT to create the form, so sometimes ChatGPT didn't do the work very well, so that make our system categorize the form. And the false positive rate is 15.3%. It is higher than the false negative rate because in the synthesis form sometimes contain the names or the cities or the countries. So actually, like in this example, we have a query, what is the population of Tokyo? So Tokyo actually is a normal keyword, right? But it doesn't contain any sensitive information. But our framework scheme classify this one as a sensitive keyword and replace the keyword with a tag, a corresponding tag. So in the conclusion, in this study we present an approach to address the critical issues of sensitive data protection. And our framework can accurately detecting and filtering some privacy and sensitive data. And in the future work, we will continue testing our framework with or on various types of sensitive data. And we also try to identify some privacy sensitive topics in the user query or in the document, context document. And maybe we also allow user to customize the privacy preferences to improve the efficiency of our system. Okay, so I finished my presentation, and thank you for your attention. And let me know if you have any questions related to the result. Thank you.
So anyone has question for him?
I have a question for you. I know that we can use NER, name entity recognition, to detect the entities in the sentence or paragraphs. So, do you think, or you can compare the difference between both of them and show that your framework is better than the model I mentioned before?
Yes, sure. That NER can be used to detect some name identity. But we have already tested with our NER model. But in our example, in our data set, there are more sensitive keywords than the name entities. So that with this category of keyword, the NER doesn't work. So we decide to employ a LLM model so that we have a wide range of, it can support wide range of keywords for our system.
Thank you.
So anyone have? So I have the question for you. What is still very used in after the appearance of LLM, and recently I saw some the advantages of the RAG, and I have some question about the privacy. And so as you mentioned about application is hospital. Hospital is the place where they use a lot of sensitive data. So you as in RAG you replace sensitive data by placeholder. So my question is, so do you have another methods to protect the privacy of the sensitive data?
Yes. Actually, RAG is a system, it's an architecture or an approach. So, in my opinion, to get the most privacy, user privacy concern, the hospital can develop the LML by themselves. They don't use any service provider, don't use any third-party service provider, so that they can control all the data and the models and the embedding service. So in that case, we don't have any problem with the user privacy issue, right? Here in my research, we assume that we couldn't develop or couldn't build the LLM by ourselves. So we have to use the third-party service. For example, we still use RAG, but we forward the form to OpenAI to get the answer. So in that case, we need to figure out some way to protect our privacy data, like username, the phone number, or address, or the project, your description, and so on. So that is the reason why we think about the solution to hide all the sensitive data before sending them to the LLM. And in the form, you can customize the form before sending them to the LML, to the OpenAI. You can include the following note to tell OpenAI or ChatGPT that you shouldn't, you have to, when they generate the answer, they have to use the same placeholder in the question and in the context, so that later when we get the response, we can continue processing the response to replace the placeholder, replace the tag with the correspond with the correct data. Okay. So is it okay?
Yes, I understand, but because when you send our data, the third party is still the issue, because we can leak, data can be leaked, and I have the idea about federated learning, and maybe you can use federated learning for training the model, and I know you use third party like OpenAI to make sure you have the resources data to train the model and make efficient. But I think you should consider about the federated learning.
Okay. Yeah, we will consider about it.
Yes.
The suggestion. Thank you.
So anyone have?
That is not a choice, that is not an option. Obvious, you need to, even you use the third-party service, you now know that's which data come from and where they are going. So we need to make sure that the data is applied away. Because we need, with the law already said that we must follow the so-called medical ethics. If you do with spreading patient data is inhibited by law and protected by law. So that's an option. Thanks.
Just thank you very much for your presentation.